And his friends, with the friends you can
They're okay? It's like, her self-defense tool.
So that's what you do in Russia.
Yeah.
He rocks her.
All right, I'm gonna. Okay, let's get started. Okay. So my last week was very eventful. Okay? I had a lot of eye-opening moments. My mind was totally flew open. So one of the phrases I heard was tacit knowledge versus explicit knowledge. And all of a sudden I realized that, like when I was going through school and when I'm, kind of having these classes to share my first-hand experience, what I'm really hoping to share, to achieve, is to tap into this tacit knowledge of mind, of everybody. Okay? Instead of this explicit knowledge, like, okay, these are the points that does this, and these are the herbs that does that. These are the 20 moves, and you do this, and you achieve whatever. Right? And to me, I never truly feel that way. I feel like there's something so much deeper that's within me that if I can sort of dive into it and get what I need and then surface up, then I can do things in a very flow kind of a way, rather than trying to emulate, trying to sort of force myself to do something as if it is right. So when I go deeper into my tacit knowledge, I feel like I know it. It's like I know. And if I tap into it, I feel like I'm getting into myself more and more. I'm literally doing this from the inside of me rather than a very critical eyes outside of me to say whether I'm doing this right or not. Okay. And then I read this phrase. It's like, okay, our tacit knowledge is actually the biggest obstacle for AI, artificial intelligence. Okay? So anything that we can Google essentially going to turn into artificial intelligence, right, Hugo?
No, yeah.
Right? and you are probably doing this anyway, right? So there are people like Hugo who's gonna turn everything into artificial intelligence the best they can. Okay, so we're talking about artificial intelligence for diagnosis, for medical issues, right? For whatever. I mean, honestly, a lot of things are turning into artificial intelligence. Anything that's explicitly knowledge, because it can program into software, right? And based on parameters, stimulus, and whatever, right? It can program this thing into this robot or this whatever intelligent sensors or something like that, and become artificial intelligence. But the tacit knowledge is different. So you can buy a $20,000 massage chair, okay, that would not be equal to a very, or even to your hand. It will be very different. Okay? It will not be able to feel how you feel, because we have this tacit knowledge that's body-based, that's emotional-based, that's probably even higher-based. Okay, it's even more universal based. We might have a gateway to connect to the universal knowledge that we don't even know. Okay. So to me, it's like, okay, when a lot of things just kind of blew open, right? Like how you felt for the past few weeks. You felt like, boy, there's something that's just opening up, right? Is it outside knowledge or is it inside knowledge? To me, it's always inside. When we get closer to what's inside of us, the tacit knowledge, right? We become very comfortable. We may be curious, we may be, going through the same challenges as before, but we will be feeling very different. Like you said, we know one move. We in the class we can do, put this hand on somebody's sacrum and be able to do this move. But how about other bodies? Heavier or longer or shorter or whatever. What do we do with them, right? Male, female, old and young, and what do we do with them, right? Tap into the Tasic knowledge, because there's no way we can put this move on 1,000 people. Then we say, you know what? I know how to do all these peoples, but guess what? There's going to be somebody that's different going to come in. Somebody who's losing a limb, for example. Then what do you do? Would that affect, our sense of grounding? Would that affect our sense of being a lighthouse? So to me, that is what we're doing. So to me, epiphany or clarity, okay, the sense of epiphany or clarity, the sense of clarity is really, to me, it's almost like, again, it's a question, okay, I'm not saying it is, but think about it, okay. Is epiphany or clarity just the inner trip to our Tasic knowledge? All of a sudden, we have this huge, immersion in this understanding. It's like, that's what it means. I hear this 10,000 times, but now I'm in this. Now my body is in this. People tell me, like, ice water is cold. Now I know how cold it means. Something like that. It's like we literally feel this, with our entire being. So with that in mind, okay, and here I actually was inspired by this Picasso's bull. Okay? So Picasso draw this bull in great detail, and then he simplify until it's just elementary. Just a few lines, and that's the essence of a bull. So to me, that's how I see things. Okay, whether it's a Tui Na move, whether it's a punch, a Wing Chun punch, right? I wanna simplify it to the bare elemental, right? Or fundamental. So what I want to do is, I know in this class, or my previous class, one of the major complaints was, John, when are we going to learn anything? When are we going to learn anything, right? Are we going to, this is Tui Na, when are we going to be able to Tui Na, right? And honestly, I cannot teach you how to Tui Na. Nobody can. Because at the end of the day, it's your body, it's your mind, it's your creativity that's going to make you a person that's be able to Tui Na comfortably. Okay? It's not me. It's not anybody else. Okay? So if we can do a sacred hold on our classmate later today, right, or a shoulder rotation on our classmate later today, right, look at the fundamentals, at least this much fundamentals that we're actually immersing ourselves in. Okay? Balance, the proper distance, the intention. Right? What's our intention? Are we trying to help this person, or are we feeling within ourselves? Are we in, basically we're mirror, because I move so well, and intention, right? Direction, action. So essentially, when we have an intention, is our action aligned with this intention? Are they going in the same direction? Okay? How is my center line in regard, in relationship to my wrist? So there's a whole lot of things that's in here. Unless, when we hit it just right, oh my goodness, it feels effortless. Any deviation, we just feel like, oh, it's a stretch. Right? We have to somehow push through this and just say, oh, I mean, right? Sensitivity, right? Power. Where's the power coming from? Right? I honestly work on people at 350 pounds, 6'6", right? And no issue. Okay? I'm not the strongest person. Okay? I don't build muscles. I actually pride myself to have no muscle. But I want to be able to use my body. I want to be able to use the table. I want to be able to use my patient, right? As leverage, as whatever, right? To achieve what I want to achieve. So there's sensitivity, there's power, there's connection, right? When we connect to our patient's heart of gold, right? And all of a sudden, the person who want to kill himself or herself on the table, all we're serving is a heart of gold. We're not serving a person that's in great distress or suffering, which can potentially affect us. once we connect to that, honestly, that session might as well just end it right there. It's not gonna go anywhere. Okay? This person has been, honestly, basically every patient that we see have been sympathized by, I don't know how many people. Okay? So it's so refreshing. It'll be extremely, extremely refreshing for that person to feel like, man, this is so different. Okay? I just graduated not long ago. I had my license less than 3 years. Right? But my treatments are very different because I come from a very different. I practice sympathy free. So I tap into something that's within them. I don't connect to their signs and symptoms because it's impossible to address. Okay, you can address the signs and symptoms, but it's going to pop up again. Okay. So, for example, okay, menstruation issue. If we just say, okay, take these herbs, use these needles and do whatever, right? As if it's going to resolve menstruation issue, I guarantee you it's not going to go away. If there's something much, much deeper within, that caused that thing, right? So that's what I meant by I don't address signs and symptoms. Because honestly, I don't know how to do this. I don't know herbs. I fail all the herb classes. I fail all the formula classes. I'm very good at failing all these classes. But I'm also very good at connecting to people and find way to empower. Because when I do that, I find mutual healing. I find like I'm actually improving myself while the person is actually empowering himself or herself at the same time. So there's no sacrifice. Right? And to me, that's what compassion means. We also learn, right, table height, right, flexibility, coordination, flow, right, how flexible is our body. Right? In order for me to put my leg on the table, my ankles need to be flexible. If not, I can't. Right? So again, it goes back to self-cultivation. Right? And to me, there's so much more. So the key for us is to use this class, right? And whoever we can get our hands on to say, can I please, may I please, have the opportunity to work on you right now, right? Just so we can do what? We can turn these fundamentals into habit. Okay? In the beginning, we have to be so mindful of the distance, right? The direction, is my center line aligned with my hand, with the hip, for example? Where's my hand? Da, 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 right? It's the same thing as we're learning how to do jiu-jitsu, right? The teacher will put this hand here, put their hand in. The same thing with Wing Chun, right? The teacher will actually push us or whatever to get us a feel, right? But then it's all work to say, okay, I'm gonna practice to a certain degree until this fundamentals become habits, becomes instincts. Okay? It's the same thing as people drive, right? When we first learned to drive, actually my youngest daughter and my second youngest daughter, they just got their licenses and within the last 6 months, right? So they go from, like interesting drivers to interesting drivers. Now it's like, very interesting. We can talk and share ideas and tell stories while she's driving. Before it's like, no, you cannot distract this person at all. Because during that time, we are actually mindful of every little thing that we need to do, right? Holding the steering wheel, pressing the gas and, mindful of the surrounding, not putting a blinder on and right? There's so much things that needs to happen before we feel comfortable, right? It's the same thing here. We already know how to do this. Okay. So to me, we don't. Nobody is in lack of the ability, right? But it's just we need to make these fundamentals our habits. So if at the end of the day, at the end of the class, the feedback is John taught us one move in Cui Na, I'll be very happy. And you truly feel comfortable with that one move, I guarantee you'll be so creative in everything you do. Everything. You will have absolutely no issue with any body. Okay? But if you feel like, in this class we learned 50 Cui Na moves to me, you're gonna get stuck. Yes, please.
So, okay, so this is kind of cheesy, but a Bruce Lee quote comes to mind. Like, don't fear the man of 1,000 moves, feel the man who masters one move 1,000 times. And that's like so true, because when you know that one move, you can get it from any angle.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, right. So I know the it's like the anxiety to say I need more. Okay? But what I'm saying is be comfortable with master that one thing. Okay? Stay foolish with that one little move. Okay? And because then to me, honestly, I even to now, every patient I'm doing something new. Every patient. You have a beautiful question. It's like, okay, we can do this in the class. How about my clients? How about my patients, right? So we cannot be prepared for everything, right? So the only thing we can do is, are we ready to explore, right? To feel and say, oh, this is different, right? Then hold for a second, right? Do nothing for a second, and until our body intelligence comes in, or we body feel enough to say, I'm gonna take a different approach. Or I'm going to invent something, or I'm going to do something I've never done before. Honestly, every patient up to now, I have something that's completely just blew my mind. So, oh my goodness, I can actually do this. The other day, I was actually massaging somebody's armpit. It's like, wow, that's a quicker way to resolve shoulder issues, right? So there's very interesting. It's almost like different patients will come in and teach us different things. You know, once we have a fundamental in, then we're very good at learning. Right? Then every body that comes in actually teaches us, right? Or even every conversation. Yeah, Angela.
Okay, so since we're on the topic of like patients teaching us, I feel like this really goes hand in hand with everything that happened last Wednesday. Okay, hold on. Let me back up really quick because Gloria, I wanted to tell you something because yes, last session when we were all laying down and holding each other's like.
Can you please come in here?
Come
on.
Okay. Okay, so since last week's session, like it's just so beautiful how things just come together when the time is right, because in correlation or in relation to our exercise of like holding each other's PC, the ring finger, and the long point. Okay, so I was like super into myself, like trying to like relax. Okay, my mind was like long stare, relax. Okay, and I got to like these curtain eyes and I was trying to like settle in. Okay. And then I was just not feeling it. And then I look over to you, Gloria, and I see you just so like present and in the moment and like shining love. Like your face, like I didn't see anything, but I could sense it. I could sense your just love and tapping into. So then like when I saw you, I was like, that's it. And then I felt like I was able to like beam into Pam. Like once I saw it and I felt it, I was like, into Pam, like so awesome. Okay, so it was so amazing. Thank you for that, because just picturing that helped me like tap into that more later in the week. Okay, so later in the week, because all this. Okay, when you were saying if out of anything out of this class, because I was thinking about it, like honestly, what have we really learned, you guys? Like how to like relax the shoulder, right? Which I'm like kind of about, right? And then we held hands, and then that's it. Like that. Well, that's kind of it. But I can see how deep just holding hands is, because I had a patient experience last Wednesday, and you can just tell, just like when this patient came in. That's how cool like Chinese medicine is, man. You could see it, you could like hear it in their voice. Like he was just troubled. He was going through some things, and just like in the patient exam, he expressed that he was like recently a victim of domestic violence. So like, yeah, like struggles. And his demeanor was just really like hesitant. His voice was just like trailing off and like really low and really unsure. It was like, you could just tell he was just like, his spirit or his presence was just really like, and then, so I treated him, and then like at the end of it and wrapping it up, you know, answering the questions and, you know, like, okay, well, thank you for coming, and, you know, I really appreciate you. And then it was like prompted in my heart to ask him, is it okay if I give you a hug? Like on the way, I was like, goodbye.
Yeah.
I embraced this man. It was the most beautiful thing. The stranger. Oh, I'll tell you. When we were talking about strangers that one day, dude, I embraced this man for like those awkward 8 minutes. Like I held him, and like you could tell, like at first I could feel his body was like really stiff, right? But then, like, after a few minutes, like, I feel, like, our bodies, like, warming up, and he, like, gently relaxed, and, like, you hear him crying, like, he, like, had a release, and then I could feel this man, like, the stranger, like, nestling into me, and we just, like, held each other, and, like, melted into each other, and I see what you mean about, like, how love, okay, like, okay, we're not born, like, nasty. Like, we're not born, like, things happen to us, and then, like, that alters the way we, like, think and go. Like, like, I don't know, I told him, I don't know what you've been through, and I don't know why it happens, but, like you said, there's a reason. We may not understand, but there's a reason for everything, and I know it's gonna be okay. And we just held each other, dude, like this complete stranger. But yeah, it was the most beautiful thing, and I cry because I'm not sad, but I cry because like love is so overwhelming, and it's so like everybody's deprived of this, like. And like we just love feels so good.
I don't really think it's a deprivation. I think it's a block.
Yeah.
There is deprivation, but people block themselves.
Yeah.
And you know, they just have this shield up.
For a reason, though.
Yeah.
Too. You know,
Right.
that's okay.
But like the whole like, okay, so, and that's what I mean, like I don't feel like people are born nasty, okay? Like everybody does have a heart of gold, but things happen to them and like all that stuff. But like to really just like come with no judgment. I don't know this person, like I only know him of this last 30 minutes I spent talking to him, and we were like quiet in the waiting room after that. But anyways, like to come with no judgment and to create like to create a space where it's just like really you feel the love, like it's just everybody needs that. Like but that's like in a way like that's how like almost like we're superheroes, you guys. Like we have this special, each of us have this special power, and then like the human body is amazing. Like we have the power to heal. Like we have the power to heal within us. Like we get a cut, your body does it. Like we have mind, heart, spirit. Like we have the power to do that, but we have to make the choice. And it's like the people you meet along the way, you may like exchange some stuff to help each other, to help us get to healing. Like, and that's where it like mutually is too. But yeah. So that's what happened to me, like, from last week to this week. I just, like, was like, I need to share that. And I was like, so excited. Nothing on my mind.
That was a crying people the whole class.
You know, I brought this in, right? Not knowing it was for me, you know.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you guys, to be honest, good stuff. So we're learning good stuff. Hang in there. Hang in the whole hand holding.
You know, this is why I have such profound gratitude, you know, for everybody, for the universe, right? Because you can't have needles big enough, you know, herbs strong enough to do what you just did, to share what you share. Okay, that to me is true healing. Okay, you break somebody, you essentially remove the barriers that the person has to put up to face the world. You change that perspective. Okay, and all of a sudden you're never the same, and nobody's ever the same, right? Yeah, please pass this around.
You know, honestly, I feel like we always set a priority wrong. We always feel like, oh, this has to be done first. That has to be done first before we have time to love someone. And then, yeah, so I'm grateful to this class for learning from doing nothing to which is really something, okay?
Okay, good. Let's continue, okay? Let's pretend we're okay now. Okay, so the next couple of questions is, when we are staying with the explicit knowledge, that top 5%, to me it's even less. Okay? We're always driven by fear that we need to know more, that we don't know enough. You know, we're not precise enough, we don't have enough coverage, we haven't seen enough, we haven't practiced long enough. You know, we have all these doubts, tremendous amount of doubts. It's like, okay, I practiced 3 years, it's nothing. Right? I practiced 10 years, it's nothing. I practiced 30 years, it's nothing. Right? We always have that fear because we know it's not, intuitively we know there's something so much deeper. But when we start to tap into this tacit knowledge, which is exactly what we're doing, okay? Angela, you just shared the most profound dive into your tacit knowledge. You know, when you go in there, you remove yourself, you remove the blockage, you basically dive into that, right? And when you come out, you're never the same. You will never, you can't change back.
And like, if I may add to that, like when you have that kind of love, it really does like cast out all fear and cast out all doubts, because there's no like, there's like no judgment, and you're like, okay, let's do this, like whatever it is, like you just want to go forward and you go confidently, and it was like all feeling, you guys, like, I mean, like, I don't know how to explain it, but like, and I know it's like hard to be like, well, how do you feel it or whatever. Honestly, you just like you're saying, go with no expectations. You have these procedures or your protocols, but when it really comes down to it, it's like you were saying, you got to go back to yourself. What is your body telling you? What is your intuition? What is your mind and your senses like nudging you to do? And then you got to just like do it.
Just go for it.
Just go for it.
Did
And
you feel that? Like,
yeah.
you were just like, now. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
And honestly, too, when patients come, it's like, I feel like already there's like, when they lay down on the table, like to lay yourself down on the table and have people over you and doing stuff, like that already is like you're opening up because you need something, or you know, like you're searching for something. They're like open even in some kind of way to lay themselves down on the table, like, and then like I just do my best to give it all I got, and they're gonna take what they need from it, like, and that's the letting go. It's like I want this best for you, but it's like it aches me so bad that like you don't want it as bad as I do, but like that's the wounded healer. It's like I gotta disconnect from that, or set a healthy boundary from that, and then my thought stops at, I'm gonna do everything I can, and I'm gonna just give you all I got with the time that I have with you, and then I'm offering it to you, and then whatever you need, you take.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can I share? There's a quote in the Tao Te Ching that says, "Be so full of life, there's no room for disease."
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's kind of what you're like, when you're so filled up with love, there's no room for your body to take on disease. You're full of life. You're 100% filled up with life.
So the antidote to judgment and sympathy is compassion. It's just love, unconditional love. Yeah, absolutely.
And like maybe not that I'm so full of it, but when I experience not that like I'm always spilling over love, but it's not always like that. Like I'm not always up like this all the time. But like when I experience things, like when I experience hardships and stuff, it's like I can fall back on love, and like that's what I show that difficulty. That's what I show that doubt. Like even if it's within myself and I have doubts and all that stuff, I gotta give myself some grace, because when I feel like everything is against me, I gotta at least be on my side. Like I gotta have my back, so I gotta show myself some love and some grace.
You need a podcast.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. I like all her hands.
You're such a great storyteller. You took us on your journey.
Yeah,
Really
and the
cool.
tone. You study theater, so you can
Oh, so fascinating.
Thank you.
It's very unique.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Because I can relate to when you say things are overwhelming, so it's, or like when you have something so good, you just want to share it with everybody, and it's like, that's kind of what it means to like lean into a feeling, like even if it is like fear or doubt, you kind of just like ride it, and this overwhelming like thing that I want to share with you guys, I'm just gonna ride it out. So it's like, like, yeah, so that's kind of just what comes out is the hands and the, yeah.
Very
So,
expressive.
I try. Or just really honestly, okay, going back to the heart, it's speaking from the heart. Like I don't want to, like I just want to share with you. So I want to again give you everything that I possibly can from this experience in the way that I say it, in the way that I like, yeah. But yeah.
You know something, because I always feel the need to share.
Yeah.
I always am curious about it. And lately I've been having the idea that just experiencing it can be enough. Because I also sometimes really feel like I need to share. But something I've been really curious about is why.
Yeah. And like I get what you mean between like keep or like just knowing like when you want to keep, or like when it's something that you should like mull over and keep to yourself for a second, or like to share, but like yeah.
Oh, I think it comes up at an appropriate time.
Yeah.
So somebody, when you have that urge to share, you need to get, you need to share that there's somebody who needs to hear it.
Yeah. Or going back, or like, oh, I wish I should have said this. Like that perfect timing, and I should have said this. So like, in some ways, even now, like, it's like seizing the opportunity. And like, I've really been trying, or what you said lately about how, what you said too, about how problems become opportunities. Like that's been really in my mind lately, because it's like, it's all perspective, and even just a little change in perspective creates like a big change in momentum. So like even just the littlest change, to think that a problem could be an opportunity, I'm like, okay, let's go, let's try this.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Angela Day.
Yeah.
So the urge to share will get stronger and stronger the moment you become a lighthouse. That's what a lighthouse is. Okay. And you'll be sharing in a way that's mutually healing, instead of like just like a candle in the wind. Right? If I have a candle and I want to, so I actually have a sort of like an analogy, right? So it's like I have a candle and I go into a dark cave, and I see one person and I see two person, and I continue to see, oh my goodness, there are thousands, tens of thousands, millions of people in that cave. They're all in the dark. And all of a sudden I feel so sorry for them. It's like, oh my goodness, I feel so sorry for you guys. Then I blow out my candle. That's what sympathy is. Then I become another person that's in the dark, in the cave. So be a lighthouse. Be a lighthouse. Okay? So when we sympathize, we're actually blowing out our light. Okay? We're actually, sympathy plus empathy become only healing. We turn off our light. That is so beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for giving me this time to share.
Yeah.
This is
So this actually, honestly, the rest of this page, okay, serve now at our current level, okay, not at the level we aspire to be. You know, only then will we ever get there. Okay, so whatever, you guys have all the, honestly, I guarantee you have everything you need to know to serve now. Your mindset is different, your body is different, your touch is different, everything about you is different. Please, you know, seize every opportunity to do something, to serve, with the concept of serving, not helping. As long as you're doing that, I guarantee you will continue to refine whatever you have right now. In our gifts, right, like Angela's gift, right, you felt that, right, you were so deep within that mode, right, and then you got a gift, right. Gifts are ours to share, not for us to keep, right. And when we share, it becomes truly ours. And then to me, that's the only way we can keep our gifts. We're given these gifts to serve, not to just feel better. So to me, it's very interesting. Okay, so when I hear this explicit knowledge and tacit knowledge, to me, it's almost like the A and B memory, right? That we shared, that we talked about before, right? The A memory is the conscious memory, the things that we know, right? And the B memory is almost like the things that we can feel, but we don't know. We only know when we're feeling it, right? So I still haven't made the full connection of all these words and concepts and stuff like that, but like, you know, like Angela, you know, when you see a patient, you're not looking at the signs and symptoms now, right? You are actually looking at the entire person now, right? You know this person has some issues, some distress. You can tell from the voice, you can tell from the posture, you can tell from things that's non-verbal now, right? Where you can see the teachers or other students are still asking, what's your signs and symptoms? You know, what's your stool like? You know, is it pasty or, you know?
And like I still ask those questions too, but like I can also see like, or I've heard somewhere that like patients don't know how to explain their sickness or condition, and I saw that in this patient when he was trying to explain. When I asked him, what are your main concerns? Like he set me on this like scattered tangent of some like story, and I was trying to like gather.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like what he was saying, but you can tell like he couldn't explain it. He's like, I don't know how I feel or when this started or like, so, and then it's like, okay, and then I had like these notes, but I didn't really know like what to follow because it was just so like scattered, and then that's when then intuition or instinct or the like just kicked in. Like,
Beautiful.
yeah.
Beautiful.
But is there, like, do you sense an invitation, or, because I've met people that are so, you know, you can tell there's a wound that they need the love, but like they refuse it. So just by him being in the office, is that like an invitation? I don't know.
It's an invitation, and then it's a communication.
So you sense it.
Yeah, people come in, right, at whatever level, right, they come in to resolve their problem. So they're inviting somebody else to come in and try to solve the issue, right? But at the same time, they don't want people to touch them,
Yeah.
right? So there's a resistance. So it's very, very natural, okay? So it's like we have this need, internal desire to have intimacy. But when somebody comes closer, we want to kill that person, because it's
Point.
yeah,
Like,
because
you're
it's
only
not
gonna go
safe.
this far.
Exactly.
You're only gonna go this far.
That's right, because it's not safe.
Yeah.
We've been hurt before,
Yeah.
right? So you can see this conflict, right? So in the clinic, that's what we're dealing with. We're constantly dealing with this conflict within a person, and that's the beautiful part, right? So we feel the conflict, we stop.
Okay.
We hold. You want to invite me to go deeper or no? You want yourself to open up more or no? Or that's it. That's your limit right now. And we're just there, just right there. We continue to connect to loving kindness through through loving kindness to this person's heart of gold, right? And boom, it opens again.
But you sense that through the body.
I don't know what I'm sensing. Honestly, at that point, it's really, something's taking over me.
Okay.
I don't really sense anything. I don't, because if I have, it's almost like reading a pulse, right? If I want to sense something, I'm not reading this properly. You know, like what you're doing, right? It's only when you sort of turn off all your perceived judgment, or how can I help this person, right?
It's like how when you balance on a surfboard, like you don't know how you do it, your body just does it.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like you could sense, like, oh, you see, or you know, you feel, yeah.
Yeah.
You're completely in a flow. And the flow is the dance between you and your patient. The patient do this and you do that, and you feel the resistance and you stop.
Because I'll share this really quickly, but I got a treatment yesterday, like acupuncture, needling, and I wasn't feeling good coming in, but then when they put the needles, I had such a reaction of like I didn't want more, but eventually like the points chosen and everything just calmed me down, and then I just kind of let go and it calmed me down. But I kind of experienced what you were talking about, like the needles are so strong, and so I'm kind of struggling with that idea of like sometimes you want to push but sometimes you don't, and how do you sense that, and also how do you wait for.
To me, even the pushing, okay, when you feel like, okay, so when enough needles are in you and you feel okay, to me, you may not be okay. That's my feel, okay? You know, when the person is filled with needles and then go to sleep, to me, they're not okay, they're not healing. Okay, it's almost like their nervous system, or there's this internal struggle, or this internal defense. It's like, okay, there's no way for us to get out, might as well just go to sleep. Shut down.
That's literally what I felt.
To me, that's
like,
what I see.
yeah.
Right? So to me, putting a needle in, to me, it's a big deal. Honestly, even one needle in. You know, I'll share with you how I use needles, right? I will use a needle like this, and so slow, I will put it in. I will actually push against the skin without puncturing it, right? And I will just wait until the body is taking it. That's how I use my needles. If I feel there's any more resistance than willingness, I will just take it out and say, no, we're not using needles.
It kind of makes sense too, because in massage, when people have knots, like if you just hold on to it for a second, you can feel that knot like really relieve.
Yeah.
So like you were saying, if you just pull the needle, like,
Yeah.
and that'll bring the awareness and for it to relax.
Because the body doesn't have any defense against a needle. The only thing it has is relaxation.
Yeah.
Right? And I like it to be a conscious relaxation rather than a defeated relaxation. Like I'm basically just give you so much stimulus, so much pain, and okay, I give up. To me, that's what deep tissue massage is. Okay, you induce so much pain in a person, and the person's, you know, the entire nervous system eventually just go, okay, all right, forget it. You know, the defending is futile. Right? So you feel like they are relaxing, but it's not. Okay? I've worked on people who are, you know, who come in, the body feels like cotton, okay, just like cotton balls. Okay, so relaxed and nothing is going on, right? And to me, it's like they can actually make their body like that. Okay, until they are getting back to their body start to show real issues, right? But before that, their body is like, wow, my goodness, I never felt anything like that. It's like, honestly, you're working on a cotton ball.
Last night I had a client who came in and said, she was new. She said, I'm just gonna be straight up right now. I don't wanna talk. I don't like music. I don't wanna know about, you know, I don't wanna know about you. I just want to lay here and enjoy my massage. She's like, I'm sorry if that sounds rude. And I told her it's not rude at all. We're here for you. So I thanked her for telling me exactly what she wanted.
Yeah.
But in the middle of it, she started like so where are you from?
That's so funny.
And, you know, and I would answer her questions in little short, you know, little things, but I could tell, you know, she had fallen and had a rib, an internal injury.
Did she tell you this previous, or you just?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was previous. So it was a really gentle and fine, not really find anything, but just gentle. So I didn't scare her away. But you can feel, yeah, it's like this tacit knowledge.
Beautiful,
Feel what's going on.
marvelous.
The body talks.
So the pause, right, the hold, right, the silence is beautiful. But we're not comfortable with that. The explicit knowledge part of us are very, very uncomfortable when nothing is going on, right, until we feel comfortable. Then we're actually tapping into something much, much deeper. So Hugo, you guys came in late, okay, you missed the group crying session.
Oh.
Okay, so you need to go back and look at the video. And make sure you cry too, right? Right. Okay, so let's blaze through this.
Easy. Cry, okay.
So sharing is part of healing. Okay, so one of the class assignment is actually sharing. Okay? Your case, your clinic case, or whatever case you want to share, right? Everybody will have a chance to come up here. Whenever you feel like it, okay, just come up here. Sharing is actually part of healing. From sharing, you will find, you know, the blocks that we have, you know, the self-judgment we have. You know, are we good enough? You know, are we there yet? You know, is this worthwhile? Right? Actually, it's very, very important for our channels. Okay? When you're up here and you're sharing, your rin channel and your du channels are flowing like, you know, vibrantly, right? When we resist the temptation to share, we actually depress our rin channel. Okay? And that's going to cause long-term issues if we continue to do that. Okay? So we're going to, so let's,
I see what you're saying though, like with sharing though, it's like not just speaking out and like being heard, but like the listening part, like actively listening to somebody is like so healing.
Oh, yeah.
Like
your inside of you is gonna say, shut whatever up. You know, who are you to talk? You know, there's gonna be a voice inside of us that's like, this is not safe. Okay, you're here and you got, you know, 30 pairs of eyes looking at you, you know, or 30,000 pairs of eyes looking at you. What are you doing, right? So that really sort of like, are we tapping into our heart? Are we speaking from our heart? When you speak from your heart, you have no fear. But when we don't, man, there's a whole lot of judgment within, not from other people. And we'll start to perceive other people is going to see us this way or see us another way, right? So sharing itself is how we, to me, is how we start to brighten ourselves, to really tap into constantly or more consistently our heart. Otherwise, we just feel like, oh, I just know this, and I just learned this yesterday, you know. It's nothing, you know. Everybody knows this, and we start to belittle ourselves. Okay? Very, very important. Okay? I see so much potential in all of us, and the key is to share. Okay? Even if we just share with one person, that's sharing. Okay? Even if we just put it in a notebook, that's sharing. Get something out of us, you know. Just write it on a notebook, right? You know, compose something, write a poem or something like that. Get that feeling out of us, right? Put it down somewhere, okay? And then we'll start to integrate. We start to consolidate, right? We start to put all the pieces together, like Angela did, right? And all of a sudden, it's like, gosh, everything that you talk about, we're not just junk, you know. There's something that's worthwhile. Okay, so. And Angela just put it beautifully, right? And she basically took us on our journey to you know, sort of like demonstrate this next sentence. So there's always release, and it may be scary. When emotions flow to the present time, created by non-judgment, peace, and stillness. Okay, so that's basically what she just described. Her 8 minutes or something like that with her patient. Right, within that time, there's no judgment, there's peace, there's stillness, there's love, and out comes what? Emotional release in the form of maybe crying, maybe anger. Okay, it could be anything. It could be a lot of emotions. Okay? Could be body shaking. Okay, I've seen that where bodies start to shake just uncontrollably. Okay, so all that, stay with it. Okay, stay with it. Stay with it. Stay with it. Okay, all the emotions, all the body controls, all the suppression, all they want to do is to find the present time. And that's what we're doing, right? By connecting to another person as unconditionally as we can, without judgment, we're basically in the present time. Okay? There's no past and there's no future. Right? That's the present time. Right? So the more present we are, the more comfortable a person is going to feel. It's really that simple. Okay? Ultimately, to me, that's it. Okay? It's not okay. And then somebody sent this to me last night, okay, and said she saw a patient in the clinic, a grandma, 92 years old, with Alzheimer's. Okay. She was accompanied by her 2 sons, and she was thinking, what can she be doing? Okay. And she was working on the Do channel, okay, very similar to what we do in terms of the COVID-19 treatment, okay, to like brighten up or to get her to be more conscious of the midbrain. Okay, so that's outstanding, right? So my reply was, this person's most likely the REN channel needs work as well. Okay, so Alzheimer's, dementia, these issues, right? To me is a chronic obstruction of the flow into the brain. What is Do channel or blood or something like that. Okay, so most likely you'll find this person to have a posture to be more like this. The head is more like that. Okay, the stomach channel just seems to be tightened. Okay, this person may be very thin, but the stomach fold is always consistent. Okay, it's like there's just a bend right here. Okay. So when we put all these things together, the blood flow into the brain is not going to be very, very good. Okay? You will feel the tightness on the scalp. Okay? So if you even just do it right now. Okay, just put a few fingers on your scalp, right, and just kind of move it. Okay, can I separate the skin and my bone, right? Can I separate that, or is it really, really tight? Okay, so next time you see a patient with Alzheimer's, with headaches, migraine, right, dementia, right, just do this a little bit and see how you feel. Okay, just do the entire head, okay? And see how you feel. Is it really, really, really tight? Okay, so this tightness is like, okay, if you feel like, oh my goodness, it's not movable. Okay, the skin and the scalp and all the tissue, like from the hair down, they're just one piece. All you feel is this one piece. You cannot move things around, right? Then to me, that's chronic obstruction of, it's just like something is not flowing through properly. Okay? My mom, like 10 years ago, probably, maybe 7 years, 10 years. At that time, I was actually studying acupuncture. And she had early sign of dementia, and her scalp was like super tight, right? And she has ropey. So it's like a rope, okay, from this ear, through these skins, right, underneath to here. Okay, you can literally feel there's a rope in there. Okay? It's very, very, very strong, very taut. And at that time, she was having headaches every day for like decades. Okay? Very, very severe headache for decades. So I was doing Tui Na, I was doing a lot, right? I was trying to soften that rope, right, to get, some kind of a movement on her scalp, okay? And I was holding her neck. We'll be doing that, okay? I really want to show that move. So the two main moves I want everybody to master, okay? and it's not easy to do. It looks easy. Right? One is this the sacrum hold, okay. The other one is the this hold, okay, holding of the neck. So essentially, we're doing cranial and sacral. Okay, we're doing cranial and sacral. Okay, and then the shoulder, of course, right? So these two, to me, are these two allows us to sort of really tap into something that's much deeper within. Okay, deeper communication within ourselves and within and with our patient.
That makes sense because it's on like both opposite ends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that would be my approach, right, to a Alzheimer or some kind of a brain issue, right? Anything that's brain related. Okay? Could be a concussion. Okay? A concussion you will actually feel part of the head or part of the brain or part of the neck or one side of the neck will be tighter, so much tighter than the other.
So then how do you address the tightness here?
Okay. So this is about protection. Okay, so when people are in pause mode, right? So there are 4 modes of our channels. One is the pause, right? Pause is when the mouse is being caught by the cat. It has to protect itself, right? So when we're doing this, essentially we're tightening the stomach channel, and potentially the stomach channel will actually run backward. So again, it's going back to safety, right? Does this person feel safe enough? And how do we get a person to potentially feel safer? We're going back to hold, going back to that connection. Is this person ready to do that? Maybe not. Okay. Honestly, my mom is 90. I've been working on her for at least 40 years. Okay. She's still not relaxed. When she's awake, she's not relaxed, period. When she's sleeping, she's very, very soft. So every night, I will actually soak her feet, get her to sit on the sofa, and I will remove the backing of that sofa, and that will be like the cushion. And she will be, lean against me, and then I spread her hands, I put my hands here, I open up her shoulder, and sometimes she would just go, and then she falls asleep. But I can't get her to relax. Okay, when we talk about putting one hand on top and this hand is noodle, it's been 40 years. I'm still dreaming of that one day. Okay, so I know what's good for my mom. What will be good for her, right? And we, as practitioners, we can see that very easily. Right? But is the person ready and willing? If not, be a lighthouse. That's all we can be. Be a lighthouse. Do not get affected by this. No matter who that person is. No matter if you see suffering, and that suffering can be alleviated so easy by doing something else. It's their choice. It's their journey. Okay? All we can do is to be present, to be a lighthouse. So in these cases,
Do you believe in injustice?
Do I believe in injustice?
Do you think it exists or no?
Okay, in the face, if I believe everything has a purpose, okay, and there's no injustice. Okay, injustice is something that we experience and we don't think we deserve it. It should not have happened. It's something that should not have happened in the first place. But it happened already. Right? So what we're doing is if I feel, and this can last for generations and generations. So if one generation feel injustice, it pass on. So it could be race related, right? Gender related, right? And all the kind of related, right? Does it truly heal anybody? That's my question.
What about like roadkill?
Roadkill? Is that injustice?
Yeah.
So when I encounter a roadkill,
Yeah.
if I hit something,
Yeah.
I will actually connect to that because we have a karma together. Somehow I was driving,
Okay.
and somehow we crossed paths,
Okay, so you're solid.
and somehow you died, right? And I can't. Okay, let me tell you a story. Okay, this is actually very, very interesting. So last year I was in Clubhouse. I was doing a lot of stuff. Okay, and I have like a line group with about 500 people. So one day this lady, probably in her 20, close to 30 maybe, she sent me this, this text or this line message. Right, say, okay, my dad hit my cat this morning and killed it. Okay, I really hate my dad right now, and I miss my cat. Okay, what do I do? I say, can you please connect to loving kindness, connect to your cat. While you're at it, connect to your dad. Okay, you have all three parties being traumatized at the same time. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I was going to school or something. Okay. And then within 5 minutes, she messaged me again. It's like, oh my goodness, I was able to connect to my dad for the first time in a long, long time. And I think that's why the cat was hit by my dad. I mean, it's like, right? And all of a sudden, she just feels this tremendous connection in between these three, entities, I guess, right? Three energies, right? And then she sent me some other text. I actually wrote this up, okay, because it was so profound to me, right? Somebody was using this seemingly, however roadkill or whatever, right? It seems like a disaster and turned into something that's enlightening. Really bridge the gap between she and her dad and the cat. And all of a sudden, she's like, I think my cat is actually smiling at this time, Anyway, again.
I guess I wonder from the cat's point of view, but I think that's empathy. Because roadkill for me feels like an injustice from the animal's point of view. So I think I'm empathizing.
So to me, I honestly do this, okay? Aborted child, connect to them,
Right.
okay? Roadkills, connect to them. The chicken you are eating today, connect to it. Okay? To me, that's what I do. Okay? Because then I feel empowered. I don't feel like, okay, I'm getting stuck in that. I feel so yucky. I feel like I have blood in my hands, right? I have nightmares, and I just keep going back to that. And it's like, okay, the next time I'm out, I think something's gonna jump on me and get, basically revenge and get the justice right. Maybe that will happen, but I'm not gonna worry about it. Okay? I like that question. I like that question a lot. And you asked very interesting question.
Well, because you also believe in karma, so there is some sort of judging system, but it's not in our hands. It's above
Since you mentioned karma, and I know Angela want to put it. Okay. Since you mentioned karma, make karma work for you. Okay. Don't feel like this is bad karma. There's no bad karma. Karma just means we intersect. Okay? If something happened, we intersect, and we all of a sudden we find this person. Maybe I'll go out and I have an accident, and the person is gonna hit me, right? Maybe. Then it's like, what's the chance of us meeting here? And to me, that's karma. Make karma work for you. Put your choice into karma and not feel like, okay, I have no choice. It's my karma. Okay, then karma is not working for us. Karma just means a transformation point or intersection point. Like this, this lady, the dad hits the cat, killed the cat. It's karma. Yes, it is.
Cool. There's a purpose for it.
Right. It's a inflection point, right? It's a tipping point potential. You can tip this way, you can tip that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love it.
Right. Or you can fall on that tip and then kill yourself. Right. So honestly, if we have that, then everything has a purpose. Right? Is that cool?
Very cool. Thank
Right?
you.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
And I was just saying that tipping point, that it's always clear that way, that's like the choice. And that's how it makes like the karma of things just happening into something more empowering of like, and that's how it's like, no matter what the karma or the issue or the difficulty may be, like, you have a choice. And yeah, in which way you want to tip from it. Whether it be like we're so deaf or like that, you know what I mean? Like if you shine love onto any a difficult situation, like you can turn that bad into something good because like love makes good
Yeah.
things happen.
Yeah, it's not bad either.
Yeah.
And
All of a sudden, it's
not bad.
all of a sudden it's gratitude. It's very interesting. You know, just like the most traumatic thing is all of a sudden you have gratitude. It's like, thank you. Yeah, please.
I've been feeling that, but it switches over. I'm trying to navigate the gratitude and then the emotional B stuff, and I've noticed that it's just constantly like going like this. Is that something like it's gonna forever be like that? Because sometimes I do like unconditional love and I try to do it, but sometimes I'm just like, hell no, like they did something really wrong, I don't want to give them that.
Beautiful.
Is that like
That's good. That's your journey. And you will feel how it feels. When you feel righteous and injustice, and they don't deserve your love, see
Yeah.
how you feel,
and that's okay.
right? So you'll be okay with that for a while, but then you discover it's like, you know, can you really hate anybody now?
Yeah.
You can't, because you know it's not empowering you. It's not them.
Yeah.
Hating somebody doesn't cause somebody to disappear.
Yeah.
It's really killing us. Injustice hurts nothing but ourselves. So we start to go back to the circle, like, do we really love ourselves? If we do, we wouldn't hate anybody. So that's why, you know, I say this word, and I will say this out loud. I may publish something and I'll put this in writing. Jesus is the most selfish person you can ever meet in history, in the whole humanity, right? Because he loves himself, and so much so he loves everybody, no matter the condition. So we're just learning from it, right? We're just you know, it's like, oh, it can be done. Okay, all right, I'll just keep doing this, right? And the hindsight start to come in, right? When we feel they deserve to die or they deserve to suffer, right? And we look into ourselves like, oh my goodness, I'm not kind. And you can see your channels, your spleen channel is going to stop right here, going through your heart, okay? And the next thing you know, you're going to have bloated stomach.
So accurate.
Right?
Oh my god.
So it's honestly, at the end of the day, it's like, why am I killing myself?
Why?
Really feels like it. I'm sorry. I cannot, we are recording, so I cannot say about whom, but there is one person that really had a strong karma, let's say, and I have been feeling all this meeting that I have a choice. There is a picture. If I choose to feel better, I know what to do, and that would be that hug. And I know, I thought about it one day, I was like, I'm strong enough, I can do that hug, and then I just go. But like, that would be the hug that probably would change the whole thing. The point is like, to choose it. I'm not sure I'm ready to let go of these. And then on one side, it's like, come on, you will feel better. I come, like,
It's beautiful.
but I'm still, like, it's still, like, I'm not chosen yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's weird.
That's the journey. Okay? That's the journey you're going through. And when you and beautiful, right? You start to have this conflict. Before it was like no conflict. I hate this person. 100%. Okay? Now there's conflict because I should be loving this person because that will heal me. That will make me feel better. Okay? But you know what? You know, I can't let go of this bag yet. Right? Beautiful. Enjoy this journey. Okay? One day you will not have that bag, and there's nothing to talk about. Okay? You'll be like me. It's like people will talk to you. It's like, Gloria, you can't get anything out of her.
What's interesting about that is I had this thought when I was turning over the 17 that I don't know why I was thinking this way, but I was like, it was raining, you know, and I thought if some natural disaster happened right here, like if a tectonic plate moved and we were all, you know, we were all stuck here on this freeway together. You know, all of these people who have all of these everyone has somewhere to go, everyone has things going on in their life. But if some catastrophe were to happen, we wouldn't want it to see anything bad happen to anybody, you know, or we would have to stop our cars and get out of our cars and make sure everyone's okay. And so all of this judgment, and like for this person that you're talking about, if you think about it, I mean, I'm sure you wouldn't want to see anything bad happen to them. You wouldn't wish any bad on them. And if you guys were stuck in a catastrophe, you would be there for that person, and they would probably, you know, be the same. And so it just, I don't know why.
If we take that one step further, okay, let's say your situation materialized. If Hugo was there, in 10 minutes they'll be doing Wing Chun. Okay? If Angela was there, in 10 minutes they'll be holding each other. Right? Honestly, you know, when we become lighthouses, we can be anywhere, and we're going to change that situation. Because we'll be able to use that karma. We'll be able to say, you know, what's the chance we get stuck? Right? And all of a sudden you find a way. You know, it's very interesting. Yeah. Yes, you
just think about one. I know you are Buddhism, so in one of the Buddhism called the Ahan Jin, there's a sentence called, I'll translate later, maybe John can translate it. 无名所系，爱缘不断，又复肉身. It's not like it means in this universe, there's a connection between each others, and because of love, then we keep reborn and meet each others. I think this is mentioned about the karma. It's a good karma, and like in this situation, we can build up the good karma, bad karma, depends on what we do now, and in our next life or the next moment, we meet each other. It depends on this moment. Yeah, because there's like an unseen connection between all of us, between all the life. Yeah.
Or,
this is right?
Yeah. Or the attachment. Okay,
Yeah,
so
attachment.
so in Buddhism, when they talk about love, they generally talk about attachment. Okay? When they talk about unconditional love, they actually mention you know, know me, know you, we're all one. You know, in the Buddhist text. Okay? When they talk about love, they talk about conditional love, things with a whole lot of attachment. Like I love my dad. If he's gonna die, I'm gonna suffer for the rest of my life. That's love in Buddhism. Okay? That's the word. That is, okay? To me, it's conditional. Right? But if my dad and I can never ever be separated, then there's no attachment. Right? There's no issue. I studied Buddhism, and I was a Buddhist for a long time. Okay, since 1986 maybe. But honestly, right now I wouldn't call myself a Buddhist, right? Because I'm not doing very much what Buddhists would do. I don't control myself. I don't discipline myself, right? And I'm learning from Buddha. I'm learning from Jesus Christ. Right? I feel I'm a student of unconditional love. That's all I want to do. So free ourselves. You know, if there's any doctrine or any religion or any practice, anything like that, take a look and see, like, what is this doing for me? Okay. it's very interesting. So I wrote something about God and sex, right, in the sharing, right, in the Google class, right. Don't let even that bother you. Okay, really look into like, okay, I have this religious belief of God, for example, right, and it makes me so fearful. What am I doing? Okay, I guarantee you, God will not want a relationship of fear with any one of us. If anything, God would love to have an intimate relationship with all of us. So intimate, it's like whatever we do, God is right here. Why? Because unconditional love is all around us. Right? So really look into these things. You know, it's like everything, every little thing to me is a pivot point. You know, and because we all have this concept, we all have this belief system, right? We apply that in everything we do. So there's no small thing and there's no big thing, and this is very true in Buddhism. Okay, in Buddhism, there's no, 1 grain of rice is equal to, or sand is equal to the entire universe. If you can figure out 1 grain of rice, you figure out the entire universe. Because the same principle applies. Very, very interesting, right? Okay, I want to finish this case, okay? So let's say this 92-year-old lady come in, Alzheimer's, okay? And we apply, and we look, and they say, oh, okay, this is as rigid as a helmet, okay? The blood flow is not going anywhere, right? The fear is ingrained, like my mom, okay? Again, my mom, went through World War II, where she has to escape the Japanese occupation, killings, and everything else. So there's a lot of things that's traumatic, and that's body, and that's mind. It's like, that I, to this day, I wasn't able to do it. Okay. So there's a generation of people whose mindset is survival. Okay? And when they come in and they have Alzheimer or dementia or headaches or whatever disease they have, or stomach issues or cancer or something like that, you can't change how they perceive this world. Or they're not at that point yet. What do we do? Right? So I actually make a mark, right? So there are 1, 2, 3. There are 3 parties in this case. Okay? The grandma, 92-year-old, okay? Let's say the grandma, like my mom, right, is just going through her emotion, going through her journey, right? And there are 2 sons, right? Very, very concerned, still taking this grandma to the school clinic to get needled or to get whatever, and then hoping for a miracle, right? And there's us, right, who is the practitioner. So there's 3 parties, right? So I got people ask me, it's like, okay, what do I do with my dad who is chronically ill? Okay. The dad maybe have Parkinson, maybe have Alzheimer, maybe dementia, or maybe some other chronic issues, right? What do I do, right? It's like I'm taking care of my dad all the time, and he goes up and down, and what do I do with him? How can I make him better? My answer is very simple. You need to be better. You need to be a lighthouse. Unless that is true, your dad is not going to get any better. I guarantee you. So the first thing, okay, in this case, the most important person in this case is number 3. Us. We need to be so connected and so centered. We cannot be affected by what's in front of us. We cannot have false expectations. The thing that, what do I do so this person will get better? So I can do my job, so I can be recognized, so Chinese medicine is miracle. Okay? We need to be a lighthouse first. And then, if we could, and the 2 sons are open, make sure they are good. Make sure they are as good as us, or as close to be, have this open mindset as possible when these 2 sons are with grandma, with their mom. Because that will change how the mom feels. She's not a burden. She's not wrong. She's not, she needs to get better. She's There's so much expectations putting on. Okay. when my dad was ill, and he was like 6 months away from his death. You know, he fell, he went to the hospital, and the hospital actually prescribed, you know, physical therapists in the house, okay, because we don't want to live in the facility. Okay? So there are actually physical therapists come in. Okay? And I talked to the physical therapist. I say, can we just not do anything? Not force him to do anything. Right? Can you imagine? Okay, a person who fell so many times, there's so much fear, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, you do this, put one leg up. Okay, hold on to this, get your one leg up. You know, it's like trauma after trauma. You essentially, the person that fell over and over again, even a few times, okay, start to develop PTSD. You know, any movement, you know, he needs to have, you know, something that he can put his hands on. He needs to be able to bend. So that's where the stomach bending is, okay? This is a protective posture. When we're doing this, we're not falling backwards, okay? We're always trying to find something to put our weight on, okay? So the stomach channel is really, in that sense, is self-protection. Okay? So there's a lot of protective method, you know, built into this, right? So we need to recognize that, okay? So the grandma, the 92-year-old lady, may be in that state. Maybe honestly, there isn't anything we can do. So this is the moment where we have to tap into ourselves. It's like, what's my definition of healing? Is it for the person that's in front of me to be better? To heal from Alzheimer? Or to have this clear mind that will recognize, you know, her son's names and everything else? Or there's a different definition of healing. My definition of healing is this connection through loving kindness to another person's heart of gold. And that's all I care about. Because at some point we're going to encounter something like this. There's no return. There's no healing. There's no getting better. You will continue to get worse. And ultimately we will actually feel death is actually the cure for disease, for chronic issues. For people who have trouble using bathrooms, who have absolutely no control of their physical functions anymore. Death is actually very, very, very benevolent. It can be the most beautiful thing. When I put my dad on the bed, and all I can feel is this tranquility within him, that he doesn't feel cold, you know, anymore. Because for 6 months I was with him, and years and decades prior to that, he was ice cold. You know, he would turn on the heater, my mom would yell at him. It's like, you're torturing me, right, with all these heaters and stuff like that, but internally he's just so cold. So when my dad passed away, I was actually reciting Heart Sutra. I was kneeling in front of his bed, right, and I put an incense on, you know, right here. Okay, so this incense would keep burning for like 8 hours. You know, I keep replenishing new ones, and I was with him for 8 hours. That's what I did, and to me that was beautiful. Honestly, when I'm sitting here, my dad is part of me, absolutely. Okay. To me, I carry his legacy. I continue his life. So this is very important. This is a very, very important case for us to, you know, think deeper. Okay, so this entire page is about going into ourselves. Okay, that one case at the bottom, you know, maybe this case doesn't resonate with you as deeply as the person who actually saw it, but think about it. Okay, eventually we're gonna have cases like this. Eventually we're gonna have people ask me, it's like, what do I do with my mom? You know, take care of yourself first. Okay. Make sure the two sons are good, their channels are running the best they can. Because to me that's empowering. She doesn't need, this lady to me doesn't need treatment in the clinic. She needs a safer environment at home, a more peaceful, a more accepting environment at home. to me, people with Alzheimer and dementia, they have no issue. It's the other people around that person has issues. Okay, they have no issue what's going on. When I'm so forgetful, I don't even know. Like my mom constantly asks me, "What do I do? Can I have my breakfast now?" It's like, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay, she has no issue with her life. It's the people around her that has. Okay? So how can we embrace this? Like Angela embraced that person, right? And maybe something was struck, and she will have a moment of clarity, and it's like, oh, you're not, you don't think I'm totally broken anymore, And she, to me, a lot of times it's like, okay, oh, I did that wrong. Oh, I'm so forgetful. They actually get more agitated, more nervous inside, right? Then behavior actually get worse and worse, right? So, again, do what's most empowering. Okay? I cannot tell you what to do, right? But if this person is 50 years old, it's a totally different story. Okay? 60 years old is a different story, right? So again, it's the readiness and the ability of our patient that will make a huge difference. Right? Or maybe this person is 50 but really hated her husband. Okay? That's very, very different. Right? So there's all kinds of combinations. Again, go back to the fundamentals that we have, so we can piece them together and feel whether it's the right moment and do what's most empowering. Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah. So let's take a break, and then we then we go do some table work. Okay.